Interviews with business owners and veteran executives who share their wisdom and expertise to help you de-stress, free up time, and make more money. Profits of IT. Welcome back to the Profits of IT. I am Jim Punzenberger, your host and the creator of the Managed Prospecting System. If you're looking to generate leads, appointments, and sales opportunities without cold calling or ad spend, check out managedprospectingsystem.com. Today, I'm excited to have Jonathan with me. Jonathan, why don't you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about your company, please?
Gladly. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it, Jim. I'm Jonathan Seelig, co-founder and CEO of Ridge. We started Ridge a little over 3 years ago at this point, and we are building a cloud computing platform, which I'm going to be very happy to talk about and describe kind of what it is that we do that is interesting and unique. Within Ridge are a group of people who have built highly distributed infrastructure in our careers. We've all had a lot of experience building systems and technologies that allow for scaling and very significant levels of geographic and network topology and kind of market distribution. And what we have been working on at Ridge is building a cloud computing platform that allows application owners to deploy services that are the modern web services that modern applications look for, things like managed Kubernetes, managed object storage, these managed services that are the hallmark of the modern cloud infrastructure. We allow for the deployment of those types of applications and capabilities at global scale with very significant geographic and network topology reach. That's in a nutshell what it is that we've built at Ridge. And again, happy to talk about that. Happy to talk about my background and how I got to co-founding this business. Yeah, excited to be here. Thank you, Jim.
Cool. So I also see that looks like you got a family and some children.
I do. I have are they hiding under the couch, or have I misplaced them somewhere? I do. I have 3 boys. So
cool. And how old are your boys?
My children are 13, 15, and 17.
13, 15, and 17, all teenagers. Cool.
All teenagers.
And
I'm told it won't last forever.
You currently reside in Boston and are also a Red Sox fan?
I live in Cambridge, Massachusetts, and I am, by virtue of raising children here, yes, a Red Sox fan. So.
Okay. I'll continue to talk to you, even though that, being in Wisconsin here, I'm a Brewers fan. So
it's a common refrain to not be well liked for our sports teams in this town. It's fortunately, I'm not that rabid or diehard of a fan that it impacts my view of people. So.
Okay, great. So question for you, what do you say has been some of your keys to your success, and how can others learn from those?
So in my career, I have had the good fortune of starting a couple of businesses that have been exciting to be a part of, and that have grown and scaled really nicely, and some cases become quite successful, in some cases less, and in some cases the jury's out. And so I have the good fortune of kind of having seen a lot of different things in the entrepreneurial road. And I think that the one thing that I'm quite convinced of is that there really isn't a formula. There aren't things that that you can kind of replicate in order to build success. But I guess there certainly are kind of some rules of thumb and some lessons that I've learned along the way. For me, the biggest thing that allowed the businesses where I was successful to be very successful is that we had teams of people in those companies that had quite diverse skill sets, that had a I sort of always liked the businesses where the technology people felt like the company was going to be successful because of the technology, the marketing people felt like it was going to be successful because of the marketing, the sales people because of the sales, the biz dev who thought that they were going to be the ones contributing to the success. The businesses where each of the individual functions really kind of felt quite strongly that their contribution was what was going to carry the day. I think always had a good kind of internal dynamic that motivated people and got people really kind of excited about what they were what they were building. The businesses that I've built that have been pretty successful, Akamai Technologies, which I co-founded when I was a grad student at MIT in 1997, and became and remains the world's largest content delivery network operator, and is a public company today, publicly traded, and a few $billion a year of revenue. So a business that I think objectively has become a very, very successful business. And then what we're building here at Ridge with a highly distributed cloud infrastructure that we are offering to application owners in order to be able to get levels of scalability, performance, reliability, geographic distribution, regulatory compliance all over the world. In the case of both of those businesses, the idea that infrastructure, in order to be most effective, should be decentralized, and that the ability to build something really powerful and performant and scalable has, in a lot of different environments in the technology world and in the offline world, required a level of decentralization and distribution that very often the first generation of infrastructure don't contemplate. Back at Akamai in the early days, content owners and websites would have their websites hosted on a rack of servers sitting in their own building or in a data center offsite, but they were in one place. And when we came along and said, hey, you're going to do a lot better in servicing customers all over the world if we put you in lots and lots and lots of places, that makes sense. It makes sense that you will give a user in Tokyo a better web experience if you're asking him or her to access a server in Tokyo, and similarly a user in Tulsa is going to do better going to a server in Tulsa. And in the application space, we are at Ridge very excited about the prospects to do that exact same sort of thing, which is to transform the way that application owners think about the underlying infrastructure that they have on which to run their applications, and to say, hey, look, if you're in just one place right now, you're probably doing a good job for some part of the world, but not for everyone. And what's the application type and what's the deployment model that you're going to, what is the application type and what will the deployment model need to be for that particular application type in order to really get you performant in a way that you would like to be in. And it's probably not be in just one place.
Got it. And so as far as building a diverse team, what tips do you have? It sounds like you've been part of team building, and you currently have a team, and you've built other teams in the past. So if I'm looking to build a diverse team in my own business, do you have some tips for doing that?
Oh, well, I think that team building is invariably one of the most important things that happens in any business, startup or otherwise, right? It's where you go to work every day. It's who you work with every day. It's who you spend the majority of your waking hours with in reality, because we all, I think, work pretty hard and put in a lot of hours to the things that we try to build, and we're doing that with with our business team. I've found in the time that I've been in the startup world that sometimes you can find people for a position that have all of the requisite skill set and have sort of done it before and know the function and the task that they are being asked to perform. And that's has a lot of value to have somebody who's kind of done it before. Sometimes you find people who haven't done quite this thing before, and it's going to be a stretch for them to do what you're asking of them. Sometimes you find someone who knows your industry, knows your customer base, knows your technology space, knows the ecosystem in which you function very, very well. And sometimes you find people who are a little bit askance from that, who aren't quite aligned on that. In my experience, finding people who line up on one of those things, but not necessarily two, has often produced the best results. People who are needing to stretch a little bit in their professional lives to accomplish the task because they haven't been in this position before, they haven't led this kind of a team before, they haven't performed this exact function before, but they know the space really well. Often I have found are pretty successful. People who've done this before, but in a slightly, just off and to the right kind of space from the one that they're now being asked to work in, often can be successful. And so to me, getting sort of one of those two things aligned has proven, I guess, one of the keys to success.
Got it. So also a question for you about Bridge. You guys more focused on selling, you guys work with companies directly, or you guys also have a channel of working with partners? How do you work with I guess customers and or partners?
Yeah, so we in fact do both. We have the services that we're providing, which are cloud computing services. As I mentioned, things like managed Kubernetes, managed object storage, those types of services are consumed by application owners directly at the end of the day. We have some customers on our platform who are direct Ridge customers. They've come to us because they're looking for the level of geographic distribution, the level of network topology, diversity, and the ease of deployment across a multiplicity of geographies that we are able to offer them. And in addition, one of the things that we found as we're building our business is that our partners in providing these services, that the supplier effectively of the computational resources that are going to be used, are traditional data centers and managed service providers. People like Equinix and INAP and Lumen and NTT and companies like that. One of the things that we discovered as we were in conversation with those service providers is that they had customers who are quite interested in this modern level of managed services, this kind of cloud native stack, and very many of those service providers, as fantastic as they are in terms of space, power, connectivity, server capacity, they're great infrastructure companies, but they simply didn't have those types of higher level services to offer their customers. So we have in fact also partnered with some of those service providers so that they can sell this type of service, this layer of the stack, directly to their customers.
So do they provide then like the infrastructure, and you provide the technology for the distribution of the application?
That's right. So these service providers who we work with who are our partners in building the service, those service providers will in general have some kind of a cloud or compute offering that they offer their customers. Sometimes they'll call it a VDC, a virtual data center. Sometimes they'll call it a private cloud. But this service provider has space, power, connectivity, server capacity that has been virtualized and can then be sold as a virtualized server capacity to those application owners. What they tend not to have are the modern services that live on top of that capability. They don't have these managed services such as managed object storage, managed Kubernetes, managed containers. These are kind of what the customer would like to buy for a modern application today, and many of these service providers simply don't have that in their offering yet. And so that's the layer that we have been able to put on top of existing infrastructure. By virtue of the fact that we do that with tens of service providers, giving us hundreds of geographic points of presence around the world, we end up with a very highly distributed set of nodes on which an application owner could choose to run their application with us. We can literally show you a map of 100+ places where this application would be able to run through a single, very standardized, standards compliant and standards based API.
Got it. That's really interesting. And so any other tips as far as going back to the team building before we wrap up here? Do you have any other tips as far as for maybe an executive or a business owner that's working on building their team?
Oh, well, it is really one of the toughest things about, building a business. And I certainly have had my fair share of both successes and failures in people who I've tried to either partner with or bring into a business that I'm working on. So I feel a little remiss in pretending that I have all the answers on this, because I know that for myself, I certainly don't, and I'm not. I don't consider myself to be a super expert at this. I do think that one of the things that I've certainly observed is that people who have really worked out and been very, very successful in the startups I've been a part of are the people who are setting, managing, and kind of tracking their own set of goals and KPIs and progress. In the startup world, the idea that your boss is going to come in and say, okay, well, here are the tasks for the week, and here are the things that I expect you're going to get done. And next week we'll sit down and we'll see how you did against them. As opposed to someone saying, oh, hey, look, this is what I think I'm going to be able to produce this week. And then let's talk next week about how I did against those self-defined and self-kind of designed objectives. For me, in the startup world, the latter has always been the way to success, and the former, rarely so.
Got it. And before we wrap up here, if anybody would want to get a hold of you, they have more questions about Ridge or just about
Absolutely.
The
website is ridge.co, ridge.co, and I am Jonathan at ridge.co.
Jonathan at ridge.co. Got it. And so I guess, do you have any closing remarks?
Well, I invite anyone who's interested in learning more about us and what we're doing to check us out. Anybody who'd like to use our cloud services, we offer a trial that you can sign up for online to kick the tires and see what we've built and the level of performance that we're able to offer through this highly distributed platform that we've built. And I wish everyone a lot of success in building what they're building.
Well, thank you for your time here today, Jonathan. And until next time, again, I'm Jim Punzenberger, the host and founder of the Managed Prospecting System. If you're looking to generate leads and appointments without cold calling, spamming, or ad spend, check out managedprospectingsystem.com. Until next time, bye for now.
Thank you for tuning in to the Prophets of IT. Please smash that like button, subscribe, and share.